What's good, YouTube? It's your boy K Flex, and I'm back here with another video. And the Miami Dolphins take their first L. A game after dropping 70 on the Broncos, we turn around and get almost 50 points dropped on us by our division rivals, which are the Buffalo Bills, which at some point you may not even consider a rivalry because we cannot beat these motherfuckers. Now, I just want to say before I get into the game specifics that the Buffalo Bills are not a storied franchise. I don't believe they're a great franchise. I think they're horrible. I think, you know, I base this off the fact they have no Super Bowl rings. They have nothing that I could remember them ever doing good. You know, they have some pretty good players. None of their players ever won Super Bowl rings because they have none. Their most famous, I guess, biggest reason for being like a known team, if you had to say that like their biggest accomplishment is that they lost multiple Super Bowls in a row. They're like the only team that ever just like never win, right? They made the Super Bowl like what, 4 years in a row, 3 years in a row, and never won. I mean, the franchise as in its entirety is just not good. I mean, they just aren't like a team that I would be proud to be a fan of. With that being said, all right, you know I had to insult the Bills. I'm not going. Y'all whooped our ass, but I'm still going to insult y'all. Listen, but with that being said, they own the Dolphins, at least for this last 6 years, or like this, I mean, since 2016 at least. I mean, they absolutely own the Miami Dolphins. I think record against them is like 1-11. We haven't beat them in a meaningful game, like I don't think in the last 7 years. A lot of the games are not even close. I mean, the Buffalo Bills absolutely just destroy us in any game that ever means anything. And it doesn't really, I mean, it's just like almost kind of like the Patriots dynasty, except for the Patriots were actually good and was actually destroying other teams and were cheaters. But the Bills, they like, even if they suck, like they struggle with the Jets a little bit, and they're a good team, and you know they're a Super Bowl contender. But you know, even if they're like question marks around them, when they play the Miami Dolphins, I feel there's like a level of motivation there that is just, I mean, they just absolutely always have our number. And at some point you just gotta, you know, admit it and just be like, well, what are we gonna do about it? You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I mean, the Buffalo Bills just absolutely we can't beat them. I mean, what the anyways, we'll get into it now. This was a humbling loss. I just want to say we should have scored 73 last game. I believe that was a thing that we should have done. The 73 last game, at least if we had the record, I could hold my hat up on that. But the reality is karma does not exist, and it proves it here, okay? The week following, after we, you know, spared the Broncos from getting a record set on us, our division rivals then almost scored 50 on us. So I don't want to hear nothing about karma anymore, okay? It doesn't exist. All right, now I just want to touch on a couple key points, okay? Because we definitely seen some of the lowlights, and I don't mind humbling losses that much, but I just hate when they're against the Bills. Like, I would almost rather lose a humbling loss or one of those losses where you're like, okay, you know, every team gets punched in the mouth at some point during the season, but it's like, why does it have to be against the Bills? Can we not get punched in the mouth by like a not division rival? You know what I'm saying? But we are 3-1. But now, to get into the game, there's a couple things where I just don't understand. First of all, Vic Fangio and Teron Armstead. So I'm gonna start off with Vic Fangio. I mean, the guy. I mean, I don't know if y'all ever saw the Mitch McConnell meme, but I think that's kind of what he was doing, like in the booth. I mean, Cater is an overachiever, right? And I don't ever, like, you don't want to disrespect him because, again, he was undrafted. He's overachieved to get to this point he's at, you know, and he's out there guarding Stephon Diggs. Congratulations, but he's not supposed to be guarding Stephon Diggs. It was clear to anybody that Xavier Howard should have been shadowing Stephon Diggs. And if it wasn't clear to us that he should have been shadowing Stephon Diggs, maybe after the first 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, it should have been clear to somebody. At no point did we ever think that it wasn't a good idea to not put Kohu one-on-one with Stephon Diggs. This is not to say that Xavier Howard could guard Stephon Diggs. I mean, Stephon Diggs is, you know, you need multiple people on Stephon Diggs most likely. And if we had Jalen Ramsey, he could. But I don't know if Xavier Howard at this point in his career could do it. But he would not have given up that much yards, that many yards, and that many touchdowns to Stephon Diggs. I know this for a fact. And you feel a lot better if it is your highest paid corner that's on the field getting cooked versus the rookie, because at least then you know you tried, not the rookie but the undrafted guy, because then at least you know you tried your best. Right? With the Miami Dolphins, I mean, they have Xavier Howard just not even, like, I mean, the Bills' whole thing was they were throwing it to wherever Xavier Howard just was not at, right? Am I the only one that feels that way. They wherever the ball was, like Xavier Howard, you never really saw him get burnt today. But everybody was open, and I'm not saying Xavier Howard was playing a lockdown defense. They just weren't throwing it to him. They was just, I don't know if they were purposely game planning to just throw it to wherever he was not at, but he wasn't getting the ball thrown to him, and Kohu was, and I'm just so, a lot of people want to say, oh, Xavier Howard, why you not guarding him? And it's like, well, I feel like that's a coaching decision. Now, the only thing I could really, I guess, infer as to why we didn't put Xavier Howard on Stephon Diggs is just because of the amount of zone that the Dolphins like to run and Vic Fangio. Maybe it's harder to, consistently have him shadowing him and switching sides of the field because then, his zones, I guess, are flipped and maybe that's confusing for people. I don't know really why, but I guess that's the only way I could kind of give him a bone, because I mean that was just dumb. I mean, I don't understand it. All right, and then we get to Teron Armstead, and I've been waiting to say this for a while, but I just haven't because I wanted to give it the opportunity. He got injured at the beginning of the season, and then he came back, so I'm not gonna say it, but now he's hurt again. The reality of it is, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know who the Miami Dolphins doctors are, but they fucking failed us because Teron Armstead has an injury, and Mike McDaniel came out after the game and said that this injury he just sustained is not linked to a pre-existing condition or a pre-existing injury that he had. Which I don't know if that was supposed to make you sound better, but it doesn't, because now it's like, okay, so you're just getting random injuries, but I am not so sure that Mike McDaniel is correct on that. And also because I think that when you look at injuries, especially lower body injuries, and they keep happening at points, like if your hip gets injured, it could affect other areas of your leg and make them more sustainable to injury. So you can't say that it's not from a pre-existing injury if it is on a extremity or one of his legs and that have been hurt previously. Now, with the amount of time that Teron Armstead misses and the amount of times that he gets injured and just how he doesn't practice that much, we try to protect him as much as we can. Anytime he falls on the field, you just know he's hurt. Those plays where something looks like it bad could have happened, but it didn't. When somebody gets hit hard, you're like, oh my god, I hope he's not injured, and he ends up being okay, and you're like, okay, cool. With Teron Armstead, you just know, if some shit happens, if he falls, if his leg gets rolled up a little bit, bro, he's out for a couple games. It's never oh, he gets back up and he's chilling. He's gonna be limping. He's gonna he's so injury prone. And in my opinion, I looked at his injury history during the offseason, and I'm thinking that he has something. And obviously, we knew he was injury prone, but I think it's something bigger. I think that there is a chronic injury. I don't know what it is, right? But something's wrong with him that he will never be the player. He would never ever be able to play enough games as we need him. And I know that we love him because we think he's elite, and a lot of people aren't really good at understanding how important availability is versus skill. But bro, it doesn't really matter how good you are. If you cannot stay on the field when we need you, you have to go. So Teron Armstead, I'm pretty much all out on. I think we got scammed. Obviously, he's making a boatload of money, and I'm pretty sure we got scammed because I think that he should have never even he should have never been cleared to play for the Dolphins. I mean, this guy clearly has something wrong with his legs, bro. I'm sorry. I don't really, you know what I'm saying? And this is all me inferring, okay? I could be totally off. I'm not saying I got insiders or I got notes, but I am almost certain, right? And I'm comfortable in my head with forming this opinion that something is wrong with his legs, and it has been before he even got to the Dolphins, maybe before he got to the NFL, because he's always been injury prone. But now it's to a point where, it's just unbearable. This dude can't stay on the field at all. So it kind of sucks because how are we ever supposed to sustain any type of momentum with him? He has to go. Honestly, he's making too much money. That money could go in other places such as defense. Speaking of defense, let's get into defense. The defense, they got absolutely destroyed. They put a lot of pressure on our offense at a point when I knew that we almost had to score every possession for us to have a chance, which is not really reasonable. So, we started off the game 21-14. Our offense was trying to keep up with their offense, but at the end of the day, we just couldn't. We made a few mistakes. Mike McDaniel made questionable decisions, but I think for the most part we just ran into the Buffalo Bills, who are just like the chainsaw to everything that we ever do. Every time we run into them, I feel like they're just gonna show us everything that's fucked up about our team, and then kills our confidence. So we definitely saw our weaknesses. The last game, everything just looked so perfect that I couldn't really tell what our weaknesses was on the team. But now we definitely can see the weaknesses again. There's definitely a weakness where Jalen Ramsey's gone, as suspected. And then there's definitely a weakness on the offensive line now because Connor Williams is out and Teron Armstead is presumably out for a decent amount of time at this point. So there's a weakness on the offensive line. There's a weakness in our secondary, and our defensive line, for the most part, does not look that stellar, except for against the Broncos and probably against the Patriots. But those games, those teams are not that great. Well, the Patriots are okay. I don't know if the Patriots are good, but the Broncos suck. And then so it's just like, our defensive line, it's question marks really, but our defense as a whole is just a lot of question marks, right? Fangio's supposed to be good. I get it. He didn't adjust at all today, but yeah, there was just nothing that our defense showed us this game. We couldn't stop them. And then our offense, I think our offense can still keep up with any team. The second half, our offense did not look that great outside of that first drive when we scored, but I think that our offense is still going to be capable of scoring points and punches. I do question Jalen Waddle's role in the offense. It seems like he just doesn't get the ball. He got the ball a little bit at the end because Tyreek wasn't even in the game at that point because the game was over. But like when Tyreek and Jalen Waddle is on the field, it's just like, which I understand because there is no play that is called to go to Tyreek that would be better if it went to Jalen Waddle, because Tyreek is better than Jalen Waddle. It's just what it is. So I do understand kind of why he doesn't get the ball that much, but it seems kind of excessive. Like he just doesn't get the ball at all, and it seems like, well, why is he on the roster? If he's just not going to get the ball, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. We have to figure that out. Jalen Waddle situation. Even if we have to run some in and rounds with him or something, gotta give him the ball. But yeah, the Miami Dolphins lost another game. Can't really be too angry because we are 3-1 at the end of the day. But it is disappointing, and it is like a reality check now. When I look at our future, and I kind of know what team we are now, like what kind of team we are. I didn't really know after the first 3 games just because the Broncos are atrocious, so I can't really base anything off that. The Patriots game was okay, decent, but they're the Patriots. They're not the best anymore. And then the Chargers game, the Chargers are choke hard, so I don't really know about them either. But this game right here, where we play a team that I know for a fact is pretty solid, pretty great, and they absolutely destroy us. Now I can tell, like, okay, we're not a powerhouse of a team at the moment. So now what's next is that we have 2 games against the Giants and the Panthers that are, in my opinion, must wins because there are 2 teams that we are talent-wise way better than, and that we should beat. Now, just because we should beat them, I mean we will, but we should beat these teams. If we beat these teams, we're in a good spot for when we play the Eagles on Sunday night. I have no thoughts on that game. We'll see when it comes. But the biggest thing is just winning the games we're supposed to win until Jalen Ramsey gets back. The reality of it is I don't think we can compete with any of these serious teams without Jalen Ramsey. But we can hold down the fort until he comes back. So if we can beat the teams like we're supposed to beat, like the Jets, the Panthers, the Commanders, the Giants, these teams like this, then by the time Jalen Ramsey comes back, we'll be ready for that December stretch, which will be the biggest stretch of the season, obviously. And we'll be playing teams like the Cowboys. We'll have to play the Bills again, and some other pretty good teams. Even the Titans in that December schedule, and they're not bad. So it's important that we keep we win the games we're supposed to win. Early in the season, we have, I think, an easier schedule. And so it's important that we win these games now because we have to leave some space for when we play some of these greater teams. I did a quick math. I think we should only have 3 losses by the time December hits if we lose all the games we're scheduled to lose, which are like the Chiefs and the Eagles, right? Those are the 2 teams that it's like we're not going to be favorites. I think we'll be favorites in almost every other game we play. So if we could win the games, I don't care if we cover the spread, but if we could win the games that we're supposed to win theoretically, and we can stay generally healthy until Ramsey gets back in December, we can see what kind of team we are when we actually have defensive backs that can guard people. And in that case, we can see, I don't know what what implications will be with the Bills versus Dolphins week 18, but then we can see like what type of team we really are, hopefully come closer to winning or win the game, and then hopefully we have made the playoffs by then. But I don't think we can afford to drop any of the games versus like a rookie-led Bryce Young Panthers or the Giants with Daniel Jones, who really hardly ever wins. So I don't think we can afford to lose these type of games. Not with, like, not if we want to be serious. You know what I'm saying? Not if we want to make the playoffs and not be, you know, have to depend on other teams and shit. If we want to be a serious team and get in the playoffs convincingly and, you know, have a chance in December and January, we have to win these games right here. Because when we get to those Eagles and we get to those Chiefs, with we have seen the holes in this defense, those are going to be very tough to win, okay? Get in the comments, let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, to 11K on the Flexing. I'm out.